there. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Oluwayomi Ute, and it's such a joy to have you join me this beautiful Monday morning. For everyone joining me live, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And for those that will watch after, thank you so much. Again, I'm asking you to please like the video, share it, let somebody out there know that there is Knocks to Nuggets. And let me also have your comment. Are there areas you want me to touch on? I'll be glad to hear from you. Today, I'm continuing with my guest that I had last week. I'll be talking about crossing over from the corporate world to the business world. That is one change a lot of people stagger on. You want to make the change, you desire to make the change, and then you cross, and then things are not the way you thought they would be. Are there secrets to this cross? Are there things you need to know? These and many more we'll find out today from my guest, who is the CEO Managing Director of Fieldeth Limited, a leading company in the production of aluminum roofing sheets in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. He oversees a team of intellectually sound individuals and exalts excellence as a valid core value in all of the organization's activities. Yes, he crossed over from the corporate world because before his current position, he was in the banking sector and rose through the ranks, had a very successful banking career, and today is here in business. So we're going to be hearing from him and gleaning from him. And it says his core value is excellence. Receive with me today on the Knox to Nugget platform once again, Mr. Nnamdi Ijeh. Wow.
Thank, thank you for having me once again.
Thank you so much for being here. I truly do appreciate you.
It's a pleasure being on this platform.
Yes, thank you. Last week, you kept everybody writing because of the various nuggets you were dropping. But one of the things you said as you were rounding off last week is that in business, you need to know your job, know the market, and have the capital to expand. And you said you cannot prosper beyond your vision. Talking about career, again, you said you have to know your industry and don't be content in being a support staff. But the truth is this, for you to be wealthy, you need to cross over from being an employee to an employer of labor. Many people struggle at it. Many people do the cross and things just don't happen the way they thought. What's your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. One of the few things I find out is that there has to be a proper planning from day one. Nothing just happens. Like I said the last time that you can't be matured. You can't be old enough for anything. You can only be knowledgeable and matured enough for it. From day one, I said that I had a clear-cut view. I knew I wasn't going to be a bank managing director. So I kept saying that I am not that very smart or intelligent. So peak of the pyramid, I may not get there. So I had plans, but what was sure is that if I execute my plan, I will be successful. I will be above the cross line. That's always very important for me. So from day one, I entered banking industry. I received one counsel from one of my AGMs then. I will start saving a portion of your income from day one. And just imagine yourself after 10 years, if you're doing XYZ savings, what you would have amounted to. I was conscious of it, so I kept saving. And like I said, I didn't know I was going to exit at the point I exited when I started, because it's money I like. And for me, the banking industry was going to provide me the money. But as time goes on, at the time, I found out that it wasn't going to be possible. So I started looking for what to do. Now, this is what guided me. I'd listened to a lot of people. First and foremost was I found that there was need for me to be at the front office, not just only to make money, but I should be able to interface with the world to facilitate my exit, which I did. So Day one in front office, everybody as my customer I interacted with. Of course, bankers were not my customers. My major customers were going to be people outside my industry, as in
Yeah.
commercial banks.
Mm-hmm.
My targets were not employees, they were employers. So
Mm.
I tried to find out one thing at the back of my mind. If Guaranty Trust Bank, where I work, dropped today, as in dropped my salary today, will I be able to survive? The answer was no. I kept asking myself that question on a daily basis. However, there are people I see having also a good life to a very large extent, who I feel I fit into their size. And these ones are not earning salaries. So if
Mm.
they're not earning salaries, how are they able to survive? What are they doing? I needed that freedom. I needed to convince myself. So I started asking questions. Now, in course of asking questions, I met some other colleagues who have been in industry and that have left. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm very sequential in what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
They were in the industry, so I made them friends without them knowing that I was their friend, because I was admiring them. And I was able to take out one or two things. I found out what they do. So in course of that, I'll list some of the things that guided me in transiting in choice of my business.
Mm.
One was that, first and foremost, I wasn't ready to go into what is highly regulated by government.
Really.
Yep. And I'll tell you why. We're in a developing nation. One of the characteristics of a developing nation is corruption. Sorry to say so. If you fall into the hands of regulators in a country, in a state like we are, you will understand what I'm saying. That can wipe you out of business overnight. I didn't remember, I just have the big G factor. I didn't have the small G factor moving me. Secondly, I understand our infrastructure level wasn't a top notch in terms of light, in terms of road. So I shouldn't go into what is perishable,
Mm.
because if I do so, I will have to need a lot of lights, a lot of energy, which does not exist. And that's going to be a lot of expense. Thirdly, I consider, okay, haulage is one of the things you can easily venture into. We also do not have good roads. So if I move into haulage, it's going to be a challenge. Now, apart from perishable things, also breakable things. I'm
Mm.
just trying to be very specific. If you move on our roads, you could have your truck
Your
or
was
whatever
all
for,
destroyed.
and once it gets done, you are going to have your goods. I don't have that huge capital to be able to.
Mm.
These were the things that were guiding me. I didn't want something that has expiring dates, because I'm probably not very intelligent and a very smart marketer that will market off my product in a record time. So if I do not do so, I'm going to have expired products in my hands. That is money. So this and a lot were the things I drew on the table. And I was ticking them as I was asking questions. I was ticking them one after the other. The business I do today, God forbid, even if I'm moving from wherever, whether it's on a flight and the plane crashes, it will still come out intact. Water can't spoil it, fire can't spoil it, nothing can damage it. I will still be able to salvage it. And if I'm not able to dispose it for whatsoever reason in the next 10 years, it's still very valid in the market.
Mm.
Now, the market segment.
Mm. Before you
Because
go,
I was,
before you, Nnamdi, let me cut you in. Before you go into the market segment, you're already saying a lot of things. And one of the things I hear very clearly in what you're saying is you understood your strength. You
yes,
knew the things you could do very well, and you knew the things
yes,
that you had a challenge with. You were honest in the assessment of yourself. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are crossing over into business, number one, assess yourself. Tell yourself the truth about you. I'm not strong in marketing. So if I go and get perishable goods, and before I say Jack Robinson, they're all spoiled, what do I do? Or they expire in my hands, what do I do? these are not my core strength, but still I want to go into business. So when you can analyze your strength and your weaknesses, then it can guide you to the businesses that you are going into. Thank you very much. So let's go on to the market segment.
Okay, market segments. I try equally to analyze the industry. Of course, there were things I was equally doing while I was in the bank. I recognize the fact that the banking, my office gave me the platform. If I exit the office today, I might not get the kind of patronage I am getting currently. I told you I do FX, I did financial consulting for my customer, but the strength I recognized was because I had a big complimentary card on a big company. So when I issue, you believe everything I say. So if I deceive myself, everybody wants to be in a good office where you roll the chairs, AC, for Abuja in a Maitama, I will say too. That's not where my office is. You want to be there, everybody will understand that you're a big boy, but I know that I may not thrive well in that sector because I didn't have that strength. And in quotes, the language, the chemistry. So that was consulting wasn't my area.
Mm,
I would rather go into trading. I recognize that. And what was I going to trade on? Analyze there are basic things in life, basic things of life. Food, shelter, clothing. Food is perishable. Clothing is what everybody can venture into, depending. I'm not that very beautiful. I couldn't model. I don't even know fashion. So no, it's not funny, it's the truth. Now, but I understand that in Nigeria, we have a deficit housing running into millions. I know what people do and see with landlords. So it was an area I could pitch my tent to. But it's a very broad area. Which of them was I going to go into? Thankful to a very good friend of mine. He's into it, and a very good brother, may God bless him. He opened up to me, invited me severally that I could come in and see what they do. And yes, I did. And when I got in there, I said, I think I can do this. Now that takes me back to day one in my employee market. Save, 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 and save. It's capital intensive. You may not know when the opportunity will come in. It's
mm,
capital intensive. It's what everybody would have loved to do. So, but good enough, I'd saved to an extent that I could venture into it. And that was how I took my decision and went into it. Now, in making choice as well, by the time you join industry as a young man, because you must take proper appraisal of yourself, your expense grows organically with your income.
mm,
You keep building your expense. You get to a time, you get married, you get a house, you build a house probably for yourself if you can afford to build. Your children are moving into school. As you're growing in your career, your income is moving up. Your expense equally is unavoidably moving with it. So there is a level of expense on the minimum I had built. There's a level of comfort of life I had built while I was an employee in banking industry. So leaving the banking industry, one thing was very paramount. The business I was going to do, ticking all the checkpoints, was also this very important one. How profitable will this be? Will this be able to sustain me? I wasn't going to start selling Tom Tom on the road because it won't expire. And at the end of the day, I'm not able to even make what can pay my house rent. It was going to be a disaster. So it was one of the factors that were put in place. How profitable is this? If for someone who is not very smart and you stayed for the long you could, and you don't make business, will you be able to survive when the profit comes in at the end of the month? Part of the challenge people have when they're transiting is this. You have built an expense life as a banker. You drive that Range Rover and suddenly, for whatsoever reason, you decide to exit the job. The next thing you're doing or the next thing you're going to do, will it sustain the servicing of a Range Rover
Mm.
which there is no fault on a Range Rover. It just comes every 2 months. You need to take it to Costaris to service. It will cost you not less than 100,000 naira.
Yeah.
It's difficult to come down from that mountain. People see you as a big boy in quotes. Relations see you, bank manager. You are a big boy. It goes with a lot of aura. You don't want to come down. So maintaining your social status is a discipline you must apply.
Mm.
It's a discipline you must apply to be able to work out your expense to the size that will accommodate your income, will accommodate it. Remember, there are only two ways to get rich. It is either you earn more than your expense or you spend less than you earn. Outside these two, you are never going to get rich in life. So your expense must be, and two of them, as they sound alike, are not the same. I found out at a time in life, nobody earns more than he could spend, including the Dangotes of this world. They spend less than they earn. And what that means is that you earn, you save before your expense. The other
Mm.
one, for my understanding, is that you earn, you expend. After expensing, you'll not save. That's not going to take you anywhere. You're never going to have that discipline because expenses will always line up. So as a as a banker, in quote, you're a big boy and you have formed this expense life. Are you going to sustain? Is the business sustaining it? I've done a lot of profit and loss in bank, so I understand what is income, I understand what is expense. I know my balance sheet.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, what comes out, it's not like English language you can twist. It's figure. If your profit is
Yeah.
500,000 naira a month, if it's
Exactly.
500,000 naira a month, is your expense less than that?
Mm.
If your expense is 600,000, it's only a matter of time your capital is going to get wiped away. And what
True.
people will say is that he was not able to transit. So these
Mm.
are very critical analysis you have to. So that form a decision what I was going to do in spite of introduction of every business I was exposed to.
Mm.
I draw this checklist and I
Mm.
was teaching them until it jived and I made a trial. Thankful to my wife. I pushed her initially to go while I remain in industry that let's view it. And if it doesn't work out, I'll stay a longer time and see what else we can do. Thankful to my three wonderful children. As young as they were, I explained to them this is what I wanted to do. And I remember my second son asked me a question. He said, Daddy, what if everybody finished building in the whole life? So what happens?
Wow.
You can see his concern because he knows that if I do not have income, there's a level of comfort he's enjoying. What's going to happen? So if a small boy could think in that direction, how much me was going into it. So that was very analytical. And I was confident that by the time everybody had finished building, I would have made enough money to move into the next segment of the market, which I don't know what it will be.
Mm.
If Nigeria meets, by the time Nigeria meets up the housing deficit, I would have been a billionaire to a sizable level that I can invest elsewhere or decide to just stay and be eating my profits. And I explained that to him, whether he understood it or not, but it was okay. And everybody okay that I could take a move. And while
Mm.
my wife was there a while, my knowledge on profit and loss, I was able to see her. It's something we can afford to inject more capital and do. And today, I have no single regret on it. Now, on my Forex end, I've had very bitter experience. But as you grow, you also have muscles. There's a saying that you can't do dollar business more than an Hausa man. To a very large extent, it's true. I may not be able to say why on this platform, but it's the truth. If an average BDC person, an average FX person is a regular customer to the crime fighting authorities, in
Mm.
quotes, in quotes, major transactions that will move through you will have a comma from the
Mm,
source. And you may be unfortunate by the name you bear when you face them. That may
mm,
end you. So
mm.
I understand this. So I'm very cautious to that. It's not every transaction I accept in that era.
Wow. Let me come in at this point. I thank you for this nugget in crossing. So before you cross, there's so many things to do. There's so many things that you must put in place. And one thing I will say at the end of the day is make sure that you tick all the boxes. But haven't crossed, a lot of times people then cross into business. Some people think when they're going into business, oh, now I can wake up when I like, I can go to bed when I like, I don't have to get up at 4 a.m. anymore, I can sleep and snooze and rest. Oh, when I'm going into business, I have more time for myself. Is that true?
That's not true. Absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. I'm telling you, in the last 24 hours, I haven't slept more than 3 hours. In the last 24 hours, because I have things that were coming on the way, I needed to supervise it.
Mm,
Usually, I have a time we resume in the office, but right now, work is ongoing. I have to organize that. The only thing I see there is that, like I told a friend, yes, I haven't slept, but I could sleep anytime. The opportunity could come. You sleep at night, you work 9 to 5, you come in, you rest, you go to bed, structured. I don't have that time, but I could sleep anytime. The opportunity to come. And I tell you, for a business of my size, one of the things is that you must be there. You must be there. It is a must. If you are not there, you are not likely going to come out successful. You must be there because nobody understands the vision and the mission. You are the only one that understands it. If you are dealing with your customers directly or indirectly, you are the only one that knows how to. And you must understand this business from A to Z. You must understand this business from A to Z. And I think that has to do with every business one does. Even the managing directors of banks, they understand the business from A to Z. And that's why I said if you're going to work in the bank and be a managing director, there are certain units you must not fail to work in. You must pass through those units. You must understand how to make money. You must understand how money is being made where you are. So in your business, you must understand the A to Z so that you'll be able to manage it. You'll be able to monitor it. We're in an environment where it is very difficult to recover loss, i.e.,
mm,
for what I deal in, that worth millions of naira, if someone steals it, if a thief is involved in it, I understand that, or if it diverts my goods, it is punishable just by 6 months imprisonment. Just 6 months. Convicted, you go for 6 months imprisonment, and you need to know what is involved. That we're talking about 6 months. So you don't even want to quantify the risk that is very movable. Anything could happen. If you are not involved in it, you could be sent out of it, and that has to do with every business. So until you understand it from A to Z, before you begin to say, okay, you probably want to leave things in the hands of others. We are very quick to say we are CEOs, therefore I can sit, relax, go to work whenever I want, and things will work out. Absolutely not true.
mm.
Absolutely not true. We don't have anything that checks anyone in this industry. As we speak right now, if somebody comes into your house and say it is my house and pushes you, begin to push you away, for a house you built yourself, you can be rest assured that before you come out of it, you go to police. Police is not going to say it's not your house, get out. You write a statement, you go through procedures, probably even go to court. And you understand before you even get judgment in court, it might be years in life. That's the
Mm.
environment, that's the country we live in. For a house you built yourself, for you to even prove it, and they give you judgment, the inconveniences you go through it. I give you an example. Where's Savannah Bank today?
Mm.
Savannah Bank got their judgment. We woke up 2001, one morning, and they said Savannah Bank was closed. And they thought it was a joke. Police everywhere in all their branches. They went to court. They won the case in Supreme Court. They gave them back their license. Where's Savannah Bank today?
True, true, true.
Where's Savannah Bank today? So
Hmm. That's so true. I never thought about
certain
that.
things you don't want to get yourself involved, able to have developed muscle to, you must be able to have developed muscle to an extent for you to be able to say, okay, I am doing business as well as facing distractions that is involved in the business.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you will be wiped off overnight. I listened to a very good entrepreneur who has been very successful, and I ask, how do you deal with having gone this far? How are you able to survive the regulators in your industry? And he smiled and said, Nnamdi, I must tell you the truth. You grow at a time and you develop muscle and you have a house address. But before then,
Wow.
right,
Grow the muscle.
you're not giving bribe in whatever way, but they're forcing the money away from you. And let me give you an example. I go into the markets to anywhere in the world and I import a product called X. And I come in into Nigerian ports and they say that what I imported is Y and not X. And I say, you can see it. It is not Y, it is X. My container is seized. My money is tied down. They move it to customs office. I follow them down to customs office. What they are asking me for is B amount. And I said, no, I didn't import Y. What I brought in is X. They say, come to office to come and prove it. By the time we get to office and they dump the container, the officer that dumped it, put it on record and leaves. Every other person you call up to will tell you until that IPO comes back. And the next thing you're going to hear about that IPO is that he has traveled to wherever on a course or an official message. And nobody attends to that issue. You're going to come out of it probably in the next 6 months, where they will certify that indeed it is X that you imported and not Y. You may not go. This 6 months is enough time for you to have turned over like 3-5 times. So why don't you part with B amount if you could do so? That's how frustrating. But Ina said you get to a level where you'll be able to allow them carry it. You prove your point. You have an address. You also know the head from beginning to the end of that department. So when they hear your name, that is the house address he's talking about. They will say, no, do not. That's characteristics of a developing country. You must factor that into business. And for me, I call it simply that you must get old enough to know to ask what killed your father. Otherwise, what killed your father will kill you.
Wow, wow, wow. Did you hear that? Be bold enough to ask what killed your father. Otherwise, what killed your father will kill you. So true. Oh, God. I'm just laughing here, but that's the honest truth. It's the truth about a developing country. And we're here and we're not going to run away from it. So you must get to that point where you know your onions, you know something about every aspect of that business. As a business owner, he has said it so well: be hands on, be involved, understand the business, the totality of the business. You can't afford to go to bed 24 hours. But the beautiful thing is, you can choose your time of going to bed because the time will always come. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Gilbert says navigating corruption in Nigeria is a must, and in every developing nation, it's the way it is. But like my pastor will say, Bishop Michael Konko, that corruption is not a Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa word, it's a Nigerian word. It's
Not
all
at
over
all.
the world. It's just tougher here. But the principles of business is the same wherever you find yourself. Wow, thank you so much for sharing with us in the simplicity of your business. Time is fast spent, so I will ask you, what are your pattern shots for anyone who is thinking of crossing over from the corporate world to the business world?
Be courageous enough. It must work. Be sincere to yourself. Take a very proper appraisal understand the business you're going into 80% before you move into it. And I'll tell you quickly why. You could see somebody dealing on shoes, how his lifestyle out there. You might not know that he's not dealing only on shoes. We have a lot of them in the country. There might be some other things in it. So if you move your capital and move into shoe business, you'll just be asking questions. Why am I not? Why am I not? So ask questions, ask and ask and ask and ask. Having taken proper appraisal of yourself, you will know where your strength lies and you'll be able to make a choice. I don't do contracting. I don't do government contracting. And the reason is very obvious. I will not be able to start from the secretary's office to the receptionist to the director to PAMSEC to, just that you're chasing your money. I see some of my friends and they tell you for the past 2 years, this ministry has been owing me this. It's a business. Some people understand it. They have the strength. But I prefer on my daily income. We talk one-on-one. You part with your money, I part with my goods. I'm a trader.
That is very serious. That is very key. Be sincere, be courageous, understand the business before you start. 80% in the minimum. Ask questions over and over and over again. Like we will always say in local parlance, the person that knows how to ask questions will not miss the road.
You will not.
Thank you so much, Nnamdi. Having you this 2 weeks has been incredible. Thank you for sharing from your wealth of knowledge. I could go on, but for time, I would let you go for today. But like I always say, I will come back someday, sometime. You never finish it on this platform. The reward for good work is more work. So I will come again someday. But thank you so much for sharing with us for this last 2 weeks. And God bless you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Wow. That was awesome. That was straight from the heart. That was him sharing and not afraid to be vulnerable, telling us exactly the way it is. I want to appeal to every single person. Please watch this video again and again and take your notes. Even if you're in the corporate world now, someday you want to cross over to the business world, you need this nugget. And if you're already in the business world, there are some things he has said that you need to add to the things that you are doing. It will help. And then next week, Monday, I'm excited because we are looking. I remember we are in the Building a Legacy series. And next week, Monday, we are talking about intellectual properties, a route to passive income. So, intellectual properties, can I still make money from them in this time and season that we are in? Remember, we have looked at copyright and copyright laws, but now let's look at the properties themselves. How can I use them and maximize them and build passive income? So join me next week, Monday, when Ndidi will be with us on the same program, same time, same station. So that's it for today. Thank you to everyone that's watched me live and those that will watch after now. Thank you so much for giving me a share of your time. Like I always say, please like the video, share it, let somebody out there know that there is something called Knocks to Nuggets. And until I come your way next week, Monday, never forget it. If you can think it, you can be it, and you can have it. And always together we win. God bless you. Thank you so much for being on the call. Have a fantastic week ahead. Bye for now.